Can we all agree that the one thing that keeps us from shining brighter is you? Some part of you that you are not necessarily aware of that is driving that ship. Some unconscious thought, some unconscious feeling, some history and some karmic past lifetime that somehow got in your head in this one and started interfering with the journey that you decided to take when you decided to come here on this planet to affect change, to create, to make magic happen, to grow, to influence, to do whatever it is that you literally came here to do. Something always seems to get in the way. And then the interesting thing about light workers, and if you didn't know you're a light worker, surprise! Nobody shows up here without being one, so if you never heard that term, there you go. You can take it home and wear it like a badge, light worker, that's me. And what happens when you're a light worker is you do something that accumulates your light, that gets you bright, that turns you on, that sparks you up, that gets you all excited, that fills your cup overflowing. And have you ever noticed that in the next breath, there's something that comes and grounds you? You're spreading your wings, you're flying, you're all excited, you went to a conference, you took a class, you learned something, then you get all excited about it. Next thing you know, the world shows up and bam, you're dealing with a problem, you're dealing with a challenge, you got your shadow aspects coming up, you're diving in deep into those spaces, deep in your core that have unresolved issues. Have you ever noticed that? You get your nice, beautiful highs, and like a roller coaster ride, you get to the top and you're like, woo, we're on a ride, this is awesome. And then you get to the top and you start looking down, you're like, what was I thinking? And there you go, down goes the roller coaster into the deepest pit. There's a reason for that, and that's where light workers usually get stuck, discouraged, and stressed out. You forget that when you accumulate your light, there's a purpose for that. It's not just to sit and soak in it. It's not just because you're there to marinate in it. It's because you now got to get all that light that you accumulate to work for you. And to create a balance, it dives into that place that needs that light. So the challenges always show up, whether it is time, whether it is your fears or not thinking that you have enough capacity, whether it's a pain that is unresolved or an emotion that got stuck, or a karmic influence, whatever it is, that light goes and knows exactly where to drive that light into to bring you back home. But then you get stuck there and it circulates. And sometimes it feels like it's an endless pit. Have you ever noticed that? Let me back up a couple years. So, how many of you started your Lightworker awakening journey more than 5 years ago? Raise your hands for me. How many of you had your awakening moment more than 10 years ago? How many of you had it more than 15 years ago? Hands are still going up. I love it. All right, now I can hear you guys doing the math, so take a minute, think back. When did you actually turn on your light the first time? Did anybody go back 20 years ago? 30 years ago? 40 years ago? Awesome. Since you were born. Robin's the last hand up. I'm not surprised. So what is this awakening that we're talking about? When you first realized that there was something going on with this world that was more magical, more spiritual, more connected, more purposeful and meaningful than just what meets the eye, that's when your light probably lit up inside of you. And you remembered that you came here with a mission, that you had something to contribute, to serve the world with. And then you started searching for how you could do that best. Some people choose to look for relationships, and some people choose to look for careers, and some people choose to look for meaning, and some people choose to look for distractions, and that's okay too. But once that light inside of you gets lit, it calls to you. It's hungry for your attention. It starts driving you towards it, nagging you in the back of your head, demanding your attention, demanding, until you turn all your focus towards that light and surrender to it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And then you find it. You realize something amazing about yourself, something amazing about this world. Perhaps you find your purpose and your passion. And then you might get busy and go off and do something fabulous or not fabulous until your light calls you again. and you are called again to turn your light up. So the reason that I'm saying this, go back 10, 20, 15 years. This is the noisiest stage. We started a group mission on this planet decades ago that every single person in this room is a part of the team that is helping to clean up this planet. So whether you know it or not, whether you give yourself credit for it or not, whether you think you're here just to support me because you love me and enjoyed one of my classes, or whether you're here because you're just checking out something new, or whether you've been coming here and there is no way we could keep you home today, whoever you are, there's that light inside of you that's calling you to wake it up again. A couple of years ago, did you all feel how it went dim? For those of you who are sensitive, not just for yourself personally, but for the whole planet, go back probably 7 years ago. There was so much light that light workers collectively had accumulated. We had done so many classes, so many meditations, so many spiritual practices to really increase the vibration. And then it plateaued for a minute. And all of a sudden, the energy felt like it disappeared, but it didn't. And that's why this conference is so important, because now, this year, all this light that has been under the surface, dormant, stewing, brewing, beautifully collecting, gathering momentum, is now starting to come back up through the chakras, back up through the layers of consciousness, and demanding attention again. And so this is such a perfect timing that we're here gathered this weekend, that the weekend of the summer solstice, the time when there's the most light on the planet at this exact moment, this is the perfect time to be here in your light, to awaken that spirit within you again, and to let it call you home.